Behind every successful woman, there are nights no one knows about. Nights when silence was her only friend, and her dreams were the only light keeping her awake. This is her story. The story the world never sees, because the world only applauds the success, never the struggle behind it. Success doesn't begin on the day she wins. It begins on the nights she chooses not to quit. Nights when the world sleeps, but her mind keeps running, thinking, planning, worrying, hoping that she sits there, under a dim lamp, with a heart full of dreams and a head full of doubts. But still, she keeps going, because deep down, she knows no one will build her future for her. The quiet hours become her battlefield, and she becomes her own warrior. People see her strength, but they don't see the weight she carries. They don't see the moments she breaks down in silence. The times she asks herself, am I enough? Am I capable? Will this ever work? They don't see how many times she wanted to stop, but she did in single quotes. She wipes her tears quietly, takes a deep breath, and decides to try again. Not because she never gets tired, but because she knows her future is worth the exhaustion. Behind every achievement lies a list of sacrifices she never talks about, the opportunities she passed, the sleep she lost, the doubts she swallowed, the loneliness she carried, the moments she supported others while no one supported her. She sacrifices comfort for growth, fear for courage, and sometimes she sacrifices pieces of herself to become someone stronger. But she does it all quietly, because her dreams speak louder than her struggles. Some nights, she breaks not loudly, but in the softest way only the universe understands. The truth is, success is not built from confidence. It is built from rebuilding yourself. Every time life tears you apart, she gathers her broken pieces, and even if her hands are shaking, she puts them back together, again and again and again. It is in those quiet nights that her foundation becomes unshakable. People think success is glamorous, but they forget something. The climb is lonely. She walks a path where few understand why she tries so hard. Some say she works too much. Some say she dreams too high. Some say she should stop trying, but they don't know the fire inside her, a fire that refuses to die, a fire that whispers, you were meant for more. And so she climbs, even when no one claps for her, even when no one stands beside her, even when her legs tremble, because she knows the view from the top will be worth every lonely step. The world sees the confident woman, the accomplished woman, the winner, but they don't see the woman behind the scenes, the one who stayed awake at 2 a.m., writing plans, rewriting dreams, and convincing herself that she is worthy. They don't see the woman who almost gave up 1,000 times, but chose to rise 1,001. She is not strong because she never fell. She is strong because she rose every time she did. Every long night eventually meets a sunrise, and when success finally arrives, not suddenly, but quietly, she stands there, grateful for every moment that tried to break her, because now she understands. She didn't succeed despite those nights. She succeeded because of them. The nights she cried, the nights she worked, the nights she doubted, the nights she stayed silent. Those nights built her. They shaped her into a woman the world now calls successful, but she calls survivor. So the next time someone admires a successful woman, remember, her victory was written in darkness long before it shined in the light. Her success is made from moments. You will never hear about moments of discipline, fear, courage, loneliness, and faith. Behind every strong woman is a story the world never asks about, but she carries it with pride, because every chapter made her who she is today. There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain, when the path you walk is covered in shadows, when the answers you seek don't appear, when your heart feels heavier than your own body can carry. And yet, in the middle of that silence, there is a soft voice that whispers, you are not alone. Faith doesn't always come as thunder. Sometimes it comes as a quiet reminder that God is still working, even when you cannot see the process. There will be nights when you question your strength, nights when you wonder why certain things happen, why prayers take time to be answered, why the road feels longer than it should. And in those nights, you begin to learn a truth that only faith can teach. God does not always remove the struggle. Sometimes He strengthens your spirit to walk through it. What you call delay may be God calling you to grow. What you call confusion may be God shaping your character. What you call silence may be God preparing something far better than what you asked for. Faith is not about having control. Faith is about finding peace even when you have none. It is choosing to believe that every closed door has purpose, that every setback carries protection, that every tear waters the seeds of the future you cannot see yet. Faith teaches you to breathe in moments when your world feels tight, to let go when holding on begins to hurt, to trust when trusting feels impossible. Because faith is not the absence of fear, it is choosing hope despite the fear. God will take you through places you never planned to go, to bring you to places you were always meant to be. Sometimes He removes people because they could harm you later. Sometimes He protects you by shifting you away from comfort. Sometimes He pushes you into the unknown because your purpose cannot survive in the place where you currently stand. And you may not understand it now, but one day you will look back and whisper with grateful tears, God, now I see why. Waiting is one of the hardest forms of faith. You wait for healing. You wait for answers. You wait for breakthrough. You wait for a sign that everything will be all right. But waiting is not punishment. Waiting is preparation. Waiting teaches you to develop patience, to deepen resilience, to strengthen your character. Sometimes God slows things down to speed your spirit up, because the version of you who will receive the blessing is not the same version of you who prayed for it. You grow in between. Not every storm comes to destroy. Some storms come to cleanse. You learn who you are in trouble. You learn who truly cares in difficulty. And you learn who God is when everything else falls apart. Storms force you to surrender. Storms teach you humility. Storms remind you that you were never meant to carry life alone. And when the storm clears, you rise, not as who you were before, but as someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who has witnessed God's hand even in the darkest moments. Faith asks you to walk even when you cannot see the road, to take the step before the path appears, to trust that God guides feet that move, not feet that freeze in fear. You may be afraid, you may doubt, you may tremble, but faith is not about being fearless. Faith is about moving while trembling, and believing while questioning, and standing even when you feel like falling. Because God never asks for perfection, only trust. There will be seasons when God feels distant, when your prayers seem unanswered, when the world grows quiet, when your heart asks, God, are you still there? But silence is not absence. Silence is space. The space where God works on things you cannot see yet. Just because you don't hear Him doesn't mean He stopped working. Just because you don't feel Him doesn't mean He stepped away. God is closer to you in silence than you realize. One day, when the pieces fall into place, when the pain finds purpose, when the prayers receive answers, you will understand the storms, the tears, the waiting, the silence. Because faith is not about knowing the outcome. Faith is believing that God is good even when the outcome is still unseen. He guided you. He protected you. He carried you. He shaped you. He never left you, and He never will. There is a kind of pain that doesn't shout, that doesn't bleed, that doesn't leave visible scars. A kind of pain that lives quietly inside your mind. Overthinking. That it begins softly, a single doubt, a single fear, a single what if, but slowly, almost silently, it grows into a storm you cannot hide from. Overthinking is heavy, not on your shoulders, but on your heart. You can be surrounded by people, smiling, laughing, working, moving, yet your mind refuses to rest. It replays moments that are already over. It fears outcomes that haven't even happened. It creates stories that only exist in your imagination, and you begin to drown, not in reality, but in the noise inside your head. People don't see it, but you feel it every second. Overthinking is like a maze with no exit. You replay conversations, wondering what you should have said. You analyze tiny details that no one else even noticed. You fear mistakes you haven't even made. You fight battles that don't exist outside your mind. It's exhausting, and yet you can't stop, because a mind that overthinks believes it is protecting you, when in reality, it is draining you. Overthinking tricks you. It makes you believe that, by thinking more, you will feel safer. But thinking more does not equal control. It only multiplies fear. It only deepens doubt. It only pushes you further away from peace. Life is not meant to be solved entirely in your head. Some things you must live to understand. Some clarity only comes after stepping forward, not before. Overthinking doesn't break you at once. It breaks you slowly. It steals your joy. It steals your sleep. It steals your confidence. It steals your ability to trust yourself. You begin to question everything. Your decisions, your worth, your place, your future. You become a prisoner of your own mind. And the worst part, nobody can hear the noise but you. Why is it so hard to stop overthinking? Because letting go feels dangerous. Because doing nothing feels wrong. Because silence feels unfamiliar. Your mind believes that if it stops worrying, something bad will happen. You've trained your thoughts to prepare for every possibility, every outcome, every disaster. But you forget one thing. Most of the things you feared never happened. Most of the pain you imagined never came. Most of the battles you fought were shadows, not reality. Healing from overthinking is not about silencing the mind completely. It is about learning to guide it gently. It is recognizing that not every thought is truth. Not every fear is real. Not every possibility deserves your energy. Begin to heal when you start choosing which thoughts deserve to stay. You begin to heal when you breathe. Instead of spiral. You begin to heal when you trust that life can unfold without controlling every moment. There is a version of you beyond the noise, a calmer you, a braver you, a more present you, a version of you who trusts the process, who accepts uncertainty, who believes that peace is something you deserve. Overthinking does not define you. It is only a habit, one you can, UNLEARN, day by day, breath by breath, decision by decision, and slowly you return to yourself. One day, you will wake up and realize something powerful. Peace was never outside. It was always inside you, waiting for you to stop drowning your heart with thoughts it didn't need to carry. Overthinking may have hurt you. It may have delayed your steps. It may have dimmed your spirit, but it does not have to destroy you. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to trust. You are allowed to breathe. You are allowed to choose peace, and peace will meet you halfway the moment you stop fighting battles that only exist in your mind. She did not wake up one day as a strong woman. She became one slowly, silently. Through years, no one applauded. The world sees her success, but it never sees the exhaustion behind her calm face, the doubt behind her confidence, the courage behind every decision she had to make alone. Being a career woman is not just about ambition. It is about choosing yourself, even when the world questions your choice. From the beginning, expectations were placed on her shoulders. Be kind, but not too soft. Be strong, but not intimidating. Be ambitious, but not selfish. Be successful, but never forget your place. And so she learned early that walking her own path would always invite judgment, but she walked anyway, because deep inside, she knew if she didn't choose her own life, she would spend years living someone else's. Her journey was not loud. It was built in early mornings and late nights, in quiet sacrifices no one noticed, in discipline when motivation disappeared. While others rested, she learned. While others doubted, she prepared. She understood something important. Success does not come from being seen. It comes from being consistent. Climbing higher meant standing alone more often. Friends didn't always understand her focus. Family didn't always understand her choices. Society didn't always understand her ambition. There were moments when loneliness felt heavier than failure, but she stayed because she realized something painful but true. Not everyone can walk with you to places they've never imagined. She stopped waiting for permission, permission to speak, permission to lead, permission to dream bigger. She learned that confidence is not given, it is built through action. Every time she chose courage over comfort, she grew stronger. Every time she failed and stood back up, she became unstoppable. Success was never just about money or titles. For her, success meant freedom. Freedom to decide, freedom to grow, freedom to say no without guilt. She learned that success looks different for every woman, and comparison only steals joy. Her path was hers, and that was enough. There were days she questioned everything, days when exhaustion whispered, "Is this worth it?" She missed moments. She carried pressure. She battled self-doubt quietly. But she never forgot why she started. Because building a life you believe in will always demand a price. And she was willing to pay it. Eventually, she learned to rely on herself, to celebrate her own wins, to comfort herself after losses, to trust her instincts even when no one agreed. She became her own foundation, and that is when everything changed. Her power was not aggressive, it was steady. She didn't need to prove herself loudly. Her work spoke, her growth showed, her presence mattered. She became a woman who leads without fear, who listens with wisdom, who inspires simply by being authentic. If you are a woman still building your career, tired, uncertain, questioning yourself, this message is for you. You are not behind. You are not weak. You are not asking for too much. You are becoming, and becoming takes time. A career woman is not defined by how much she achieves, but by how much she grows. She is proof that strength can be graceful, that ambition can be kind, that success does not erase. Femininity expands it. She did not wait for the world to change. She changed herself, and in doing so, she changed everything. Without trust, even the greatest opportunity feels terrifying. Asterisk, not because the opportunity is wrong, but because doubt is louder than hope. Every opportunity arrives with uncertainty. It never comes with guarantees. It never promises safety. It only offers a door half open and asks one question. Do you trust yourself enough to walk through it? Most people don't fear failure. They fear trusting something they cannot fully control. Trust feels dangerous because it asks you to let go of perfect timing, to let go of absolute certainty, to let go of the illusion that you must know everything before you begin. And the mind resists this dot. The mind says, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? But growth has never lived in what if. Growth lives in even if. Even if I'm scared, even if I don't know the outcome, even if this path feels uncomfortable. Inside every person standing before a big opportunity, there is a silent battle. One voice says, stay where it's safe. The other whispers, this could change your life. Trust is choosing the whisper, even when fear is screaming, because fear protects the present, but trust builds the future. Trust is not ignorance. Trust is not recklessness. Trust is not pretending fear doesn't exist. Trust is acknowledging fear and moving anyway. It is the courage to say, I may not know how this ends, but I know who I am becoming by trying. Without trust, opportunities feel like threats. With trust, challenges become teachers. The greatest loss in life is not failing. It is standing still while opportunity knocks and watching it leave. Because every time you don't trust yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are not capable. And over time, that belief becomes heavier than failure itself. Regret lasts longer than fear. Every time you choose trust, you build something deeper than success. You build resilience. You build an identity rooted in courage. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I succeed beyond my imagination? Trust doesn't promise victory, but it guarantees growth. There is always a moment, quiet, personal, unseen, when you decide, no applause, no audience, just you, standing between comfort and possibility. And in that moment, trust becomes the bridge between who you are and who you could be. Before anyone else believes in you, you must believe in yourself. Before the world supports you, you must support your own decision, because opportunities don't wait for confidence to be perfect. They wait for courage to be real. Trust yourself, not because you are certain, but because you are willing. Once you step forward, something changes. Not outside, inside. You realize you are stronger than you thought, braver than you believed. more capable than fear allowed you to see. And even if the outcome isn't perfect, you walk away transformed. Without trust, even the greatest opportunity feels terrifying. But with trust, even the scariest step becomes meaningful. So trust yourself. Trust the process. Trust that growth requires discomfort. Because the life you want exists on the other side of the courage to trust. And one day, you'll look back and realize the moment you trusted yourself was the moment everything truly began. There is a moment in every young person's life, a moment when the world feels too big, your dreams feel too far, and the fear of failing feels louder than your desire to try. But hear this truth carefully. Take risks while you're young, because mistakes, those things you fear the most, are the best teachers you will ever have. This is the journey of courage, of failure, and of becoming someone new. When you're young, everything feels uncertain. Everyone asks you what you want to be, but no one teaches you how to walk through the unknown. You stand at the edge of a decision, your heart racing, your mind whispering 100 what ifs. What if you fail? What if people laugh? What if you're not good enough? But then a quieter question appears. What if this is the beginning of everything you want? No greatness begins with certainty. It begins with a step one, bold, trembling step toward something you believe in. Risk is not about being reckless. Risk is choosing growth over comfort. It's deciding that your future deserves more than your fear. When you take risks while you're young, you give yourself time. Time to learn, time to fall, time to rise again. Youth is not about age. It's about energy, fire, and the willingness to try, even when the destination isn't clear. The world belongs to people who move, not to those who wait for certainty. Mistakes are not enemies. They are chapters. They shape you, sharpen you, strip away your ego, and replace it with wisdom. You will fail, not once, not twice, but many times. And each time you do, you learn something. No book, no classroom, no mentor can teach. Failure teaches humility. Failure teaches resilience. Failure teaches clarity. Most importantly, failure teaches who you are. When things don't go your way, some people break, some people quit, but you become stronger. There are paths you will walk that no one will understand. Dreams only you can see. Visions only you can feel. And that's what makes risk necessary. You can't live your entire life playing safe. Safe choices build ordinary stories. Risk builds extraordinary ones. Every great invention, every great business, every great breakthrough came from someone who was willing to step into uncertainty. You don't need to know the whole road. You just need the courage to take the next step. The truth about risk is this. You will lose things. You will lose time, money, people, opportunities, comfort, but you will gain far more: perspective, maturity, experience, courage. You will learn what you truly want, what you no longer need, and who you are becoming. Life is not about being right. Life is about becoming real, and mistakes are the fire that forge you into someone unbreakable. Growth is slow and often silent. No one sees the nights you fight your own doubts. No one sees the tears you hide behind your ambition. No one sees the courage it takes to try again when you've tasted failure more than success. But those quiet battles, those internal wars, build something stronger than confidence. They build character, and character is what carries you through every risk that comes next. Your youth is not a deadline, it's a laboratory. Try things, break things, build things, start something, end something, change paths, take opportunities. You are allowed to be uncertain. You are allowed to explore. You are allowed to grow in directions people don't understand. Your life is not a test, it's an experiment, and experiments require mistakes. One day, you will look back and realize the risks you took were the moments that shaped you. The mistakes you made were the lessons that built you. And the courage you showed even when you were scared was the beginning of your transformation. So take the risk. Start the journey. Fail forward. Fail loudly. Fail bravely. But never stay still. Because the world doesn't reward perfection. It rewards those who dare. And you are young. You are capable. And you are meant to try. Take risks while you're young. Mistakes are the best teachers. and your future self will thank you for every brave step you take today.